The book of Revelation is one of the most fascinating yet least understood books of the New Testament. And the reason why is because people simply don't know what it means. And in Revelation chapter 1, it tells us the reason why people don't understand the book of Revelation. John says, "This is the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave his servants, which must soon take place. He made it known by sending his angel." King James says, "He signified it." Now, mark that word signify. Signify means signs, symbols, and tokens. Take the first four letters of signify, and it's a sign. And what are signs? Signs point away from itself to some other reality. For example, you might have a restroom sign. Well, you don't go to the restroom at the sign, but the sign takes you away from itself into the restrooms, right? And so it is with the book of Revelation. John is going to give us a lot of signs in this book. But the sign is not to be taken literally, but rather the sign is to point away from itself to something that is more real. We use symbols, for example, as signs. And what we're going to see is the book is going to be filled with symbolism. But you do not take the symbolism literally, but rather the symbolism points to something that is literal. And most of the mistakes people make is they look at the book of Revelation and they see the symbols as being the literal thing. For example, they see the mark 666 and they think, oh, we're going to have something put on our skin or on our foreheads so that we can't buy or sell. So they're thinking of computer chips. Well, no. It's a symbol of something else. So when I look at numbers, for example, I'm not looking at literal numbers. I see that the numbers have a meaning behind it. So when I look at 144,000, I'm not seeing a really 144,000, but that number, if I dissect the number for a moment, I'll find out what the 144,000 means. Or when I see the 200 million army, the number 2 is significant. So I don't look and think, well, what country can have a 200 million? It must be China. No. The number is symbolic. So what we have to do is recognize we're seeing symbols. So we're not to take any of the symbols, including the numbers, as a literal thing, but rather as symbolic that is pointing to something that is literal. For example, the book of Revelation talks about a lamb that's slain. Well, we know that it's not a real animal, a lamb that redeemed us, but Christ is the Lamb of God. But we know that the lamb he sees a real bloody animal, but the bloody animal is a representative or symbol of Jesus Christ. So how do we then understand the symbols? Well, we have to have the right code to understand it. You remember when you were a kid, you got a little code that says you can go ahead and understand this secret message we're sending you. But you have to have a code to understand the message. And if you have the wrong code, then you're going to get the wrong message. Well, the only code you need to understand the book of Revelation is the Bible itself. As long as you understand the Bible, that becomes the code to understanding all the symbolism. You don't look at the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times to find out what does the book of Revelation mean. I don't need to know current events to even know the book of Revelation. I just need to know my Bible. As long as I know my Bible, then I have the code breaker to understand all the symbolism. And that brings us then to an important point. Why is the book of Revelation put in symbolic form? Well, John was a prisoner, and he was unable to be able to write a book clearly, because then if the book was handed over to the Romans, and the Romans would then get the book, since he was on an island as a prisoner, he would have to take that book. The Romans would read it, and if they read what the message really was saying, and it was saying that the Roman Empire one day will collapse and Christianity would take over, they would destroy the book. So Jesus Christ in his wisdom gave the book in symbolic form. So when some police officer of Rome read about a beast with 7 heads, he didn't think of Rome, so therefore he let it go. But we need to then understand that that's why he's given us the book in symbolic form, so that the book could be preserved. Otherwise, the Roman government would have destroyed it. Can you see that? One final thing I want you to see in the book of Revelation is chapter 1, verse 19 says, Write therefore what you have seen and what is now and what will take place later. The book of Revelation is going to give us a series of visions about what is now taking place and then what will be in the future. So not everything in the book of Revelation pertains to the future. Some of the visions are a message of what Christianity is about, like the lamb that was slain, for example. Well, we know that Jesus Christ is not coming again to be slain, but that's in the past. That is presently what he's done for us. Do you understand? So we got to recognize the book of Revelation is not all about the future. Some of the messages is about what is now taking place, and then others are what is about to take place. So the mistake people make in interpreting the book of Revelation is they forget the book is in symbolic form. And therefore they make the mistake of trying to interpret the symbols as though they're literal things. No, they're not literal. They're symbolic of something that is literal. In our next study, we'll go into the book even more.